All right, so for those of you who may be new to the channel and never seen one of the videos, this is my 2011 LML Duramax. I bought it a little over a year ago, got a little bit of work done to it, and this happens to be an 03 Duramax. That one's an LML, this one would be an LB7. A lot has changed since the LB7 days over to the LML, but kind of what I want to focus in on is if you're in the market for a diesel, you might really want to consider a truck like the LB7 here over the LML, and that's even coming from me who owns an LML. So I'm going to be partially biased to the LB7 just because I personally love the Cateye front end. You guys know my OG truck is the 04 in there that we're building the 6.0 for. But I always loved when the new body style came out. I always loved the newer 3/4 tons, and this was kind of a dream truck of mine, and that's why I bought it. But if you were to ask me right now, side by side, which truck looked better, I'd have to tell you I like the Cateye front end better. Now, the LB7 came with factory 300 horsepower and I think 560 foot-pounds of torque, if my numbers are correct. That's a good bit shy from the powerful 400 horse and 800 foot-pounds of torque LML. When the LML came out, it was a gigantic step up for the Duramax. Giant powerhouse, but it came with some tacked on unsavory add-ons to the truck that the old LLY, LB7, LBZs did not come with. So before I get into comparing all this stuff on the new truck that you may not like, take a look at this one. Now this one is fully loaded, right? It's the like the LT2 interior. These interiors, let me tell you, for a truck that is 17 years old, this interior does not show it. And I think about it every time with my 04. You know, the interiors still look really good in these trucks. You know, they don't have that old style look. You know, the higher end trucks came with the Bose. You've got the 14-way adjustable seats, lumbar, heated seats, memory seats, power folding mirrors if you get the standard mirrors. The tow mirrors don't do it. Push button full wheel drive, which a lot of people didn't like, but I mean, you had all your creature comfort features already. Steering wheel controls, dual climate control. It had OnStar, all the stuff that was pretty high end back in the days, the early 2000s, the stuff that's standard equipment on a lot of vehicles nowadays, but was still pretty high end for back in the day. This truck is in great shape too. The crew cab definitely was the better looking option. My 04 is an extend cab, and the reason that I would have never went with a crew cab half ton is you end up with the short bed. I like the 6.5 foot bed, and the only way you were going to get a crew cab with a 6.5 foot bed is to go 3/4 ton. They don't make them in the half tons. But while we got the hood pop, I noticed it's got the stock air boss, so it still is lacking its cold air intake. But what all's done to it?
So it's got the FASS fuel pump on it. It's got full exhaust on it to a 4 to a 5-inch tip. It has the EFI Live Tune on it with 5 settings. And that's basically it for right now. So it does have the 5-position switch in there? Yeah, it does have the 5. I didn't even notice that. So that's one thing that I'd like to do on my LML. I just have to take my auto cal. Okay, all right, sweet. It hasn't been put in 5. I run it in 3. It's got the knob right there. I'd like to do that on my LML. So, I mean, if it's tuned, and depending on the tunes that they're running in the exhaust, I would dare to say conservatively the truck makes 400 horsepower and probably 650 foot-pounds of torque. Yes. Yeah, I mean, you can crank them way up further than that, and of course with stuff like turbo. Just get sketchy with that trans. Well, yeah, and see, the other thing is too, and now we're kind of getting into the nitpicky differences. You got a 6-speed Allison over here, you got a 5-speed Allison over here. The Allison is an extremely strong transmission, except when you exceed the allowable power limit, as I'll call it. Cosmetically, you see, which they're both actually that way, they're both color matched. I've got wheels and tires on order. He's already got some nice fuel wheels and tires. I like the Toyo RTs, are a good tire. You got the new body, tow mirrors. Of course, what would a truck be without the window tint? And it's kind of a small tip for the exhaust boys. Those guys I've got, well, mine's not that big still. I still got only the 6-inch tip over there. Oh, there you go. That's what you got. Now that would make them feel a lot better. Before I get into the reason why you should go buy yourself an older diesel over a newer diesel, let's take a ride in it. I want to drive. All right, let's do it. You know, I've got to say right off the bat, the pedal is more responsive than mine. Yeah. Mine has got a terrible disconnect, I guess as I'll call it, between the throttle
and when you actually start getting a response out of it. Yeah, it's definitely more responsive.
Yeah.
I'll tell you another thing that's great about these ears are mine has got StabiliTrak and traction control on it, and if you don't turn it off, one slip of the tire cut the power. You know, it's not going to let you get wild with it. These trucks were still pretty analog and had the old mechanical locker and no traction control. So if you really wanted to rip it and have some fun, you could definitely do it. All right, let's see what she's got. I mean, it's still pretty stout. I mean, I could definitely, which mine's got more done to it than this does. Mine's got, it's got the lift pump, it's got the 5-inch straight pipe. This was the 4-inch straight pipe in it. I've got the S&B Cold Air Intake. I run the 150 race tune. It's a 6-speed, so it's going to be a little bit different in general. So I mean, and not to mention from the factory, it came with 100 more horsepower and 200 and something more foot-pounds of torque, which is huge. All right, so change our tune setting to 4 and see if we don't get something else out of it.
It ain't a race truck, but it'll skig for a diesel.
Let's see if we got difference here.
Don't like 90. It does some weird thing at 100 too, by the way. Like there's it's like a governor.
Oh, it's got a governor on it still?
I think so.
Really?
Because it like acts like a governor when you're at 100.
Well, there's definitely a difference between 3 and 4, or at least I can tell that there is. All right, well now we're in actual Mexico, so let's see what we got. Oh, it's way stronger on 4 than it is. It still makes awesome power, and of course, you know, you do a little bit more bolt-on stuff. You could go with a higher horsepower tune and get even more out of it. But if you really want more power than what we say, it's like make it 400 horsepower or whatever, you're gonna need to do turbo injectors. Then you kind of get into the transmission issues and stuff like that. Now, what I want to get into now is the biggest reason I think if you're in the market for a diesel truck, you might want to consider buying an older one. So, for those of you who are familiar, in 2011, the terrible thing happened, that is DEF fluid. So the EPA required that all the diesel trucks have the diesel exhaust fluid. Now, luckily, the previous owner before me deleted it, and I don't have it here on this truck. But it is illegal now to even think about touching the diesel exhaust fluid on the trucks. So the problem is, and I think you're not gonna, the new ones, you can't period do anything to them. These last few, you know, 2011s on up to maybe 15 or 16, you can still find stuff for them to delete them, but you're not gonna do it to the brand new trucks. So that's kind of the reason one, because these older trucks don't have the diesel exhaust fluid. You don't have to worry about any of that, and that cuts down a massive expense of trying to figure out the whole, you know, the tunes and deleting all of that. And if you're lucky enough to find one that is already deleted, then you're already starting out ahead. Now, amongst the other cool features on a new truck, like the remote start and, you know, backup cameras and stuff like that that's in the newer trucks, not all that much has changed. You know, it's got a little bit nicer, newer looking interior, but all in all, when you think about it, it's not that much different. It's got the adjustable seats, it's got lumbar, heated seats. That truck had all that. It's got parking sensors and a backup camera, and that's about all that they ended up adding between all those years. And on top of that, in order to move from there to here, you're talking $10,000 to $15,000 more dollars. Easy, just to move up to the LML. Now, you step back and think about, is it really worth it? Now, not to throw shade in anybody who's watching the video that's got a diesel, and you're probably in this boat too. You didn't really buy it to pull a big trailer. So, you know, I do work with that one, but I didn't necessarily buy it to pull a big trailer. So if you're not looking to buy one to pull and haul a heavy load, like these new trucks can handle a higher GVW and they've got the more power, I still think you're way better off buying the older generation trucks. And this goes for Ford, Dodge, or Chevy. Not to mention the parts are more extremely readily available for the Cateye. I just know this from my stuff. And they are for this truck too, but it's a lot cheaper on these generation trucks. Now they have their downsides, like it had the injector issues, and the trans can handle a little bit less than that 6-speed can in there, just because they built that one to handle the higher output of that LML. But when you look at total investment, if you're going to go buy a used diesel truck, I'm here to tell you, you're going to come out anywhere between $15,000 and $20,000 less if you go out and buy the older generation diesels. And that would go for Fords, 6.0s, 6.4s, and the earlier 6.7s. Cummins, you've got the 5.9s, and the which I'm not sure about their 6.7 if they had an earlier year that didn't have DEF, but I know for sure the 5.9 and stuff like that did it. And of course in the Duramax years you go back to LB7, LLY.
If you buy one of these, just then do the injectors and everything, full exhaust to make it to where it's supposed to be, you'll still be below that truck.
Well, yeah, that's the next thing too, is, you know, you buy the truck and you could build it just like this and still be less than the initial investment of the LML. Not to mention, you know, they're a little more readily available at a decent price range than that truck is. I paid a lot of money for that white truck. But I guess the point I want to prove in today's video is that if you're in the market for a diesel truck, I definitely think you need to go look at the older diesel trucks. Give them a shot. Go drive one, and then go to a dealership and drive one of these newer ones. And I'm not saying you're going to be disappointed. You're going to be impressed. It's a great truck, but I think you're going to find that as long as you can find a solid older generation diesel truck, I think you're going to be plenty impressed with the power and the quality of these older trucks. Even though, you know, you've got your newer creature comforts, I think best bang for the buck, you definitely need to consider going to get a new diesel. So, hey, I appreciate you bringing it by. And you've got a channel too, right?
Yeah, it's called Mixed Moto.
Mixed Moto. We'll put it up right here.
Please,
and I'll
see more videos of this truck right here.
Yeah, and he just got it too. It hadn't been here long, so he's got to get some videos out on it. He's got BRZ.
BRZ and a Chevy Colorado. Colorado's a big one.
Yeah, the Colorado's got the cool wrap on the front and everything like that. So you guys got to go check him out. Of course, I'll have more videos of this up on his channel as well. So thanks for bringing it over. Made a cool video. I appreciate you guys watching. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already. Drop any comments you got down below. Stay tuned. More stuff on my Cateye, more stuff on the Duramax. Got the new wheels coming for this here soon. Appreciate you guys watching. Take care. Have a great day.